Well, it turns out we're not the only people who are upset about the withholding of these documents. Watch as Elon Musk goes absolutely ballistic on the Fed's cover up of everything related to Epstein.
US aid and the comments that Bill Gates made the other day, which, and I know that you called him.
Yeah, he's a huge liar.
I know you've said that already. I wondered,
Also,
and I'm just.
Who does Bill Gates think he is to make comments about the welfare of children, given that he frequented Jeffrey Epstein?
Okay, well, he said he regrets those, and he spent a lot of his own money on philanthropy around the world over the years. My question to you is,
who is Bill Gates exactly, and what is his connection to Jeffrey Epstein? Well, they were best buddies. Jeffrey Epstein even blackmailed him. Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed and tried to extort into Bill Gates over extramarital affair with a very young Russian bridge player who was half Bill Gates' age, who allegedly Jeffrey Epstein introduced him to and lent him his mansion in New York a couple times. You know, the kind of thing where you get compromising blackmail material on guys like Bill Gates. But just know the funny thing happened on the way to putting guys like Bill Gates in prison, along with Jeffrey Epstein. The DOJ has said that no one was blackmailed. Even though there's reports of Jeffrey Epstein blackmailing people. You can find this report written in the Wall Street Journal, in the New York Times. It's been written about at length. There's like a 50,000 word essay about the entire relationship between Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein in the Financial Times. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a blackmail operation. The DOJ is lying to you. There is a client list, yes, and Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. It's been a very frustrating day because, well, those of us who pay attention to this kind of stuff, know this because you can see it. There's photographs of it in multi-million pound settlements from the royal family and Prince Andrew getting stripped of his royal title and royal duties because of it. That doesn't just happen because somebody made up a claim, right? No, that happened because it happened. And even your best friends say it happened. The feds say it happened, Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender by 2008. Why did the powerful stick with him? The powerful, like Bill Gates, became friends with Epstein after the sexual predator.
I think it's safe to say that if anybody who tries to convince you that Jeffrey Epstein was not blackmailing other people just has no idea what they're talking about, and they are complicit in everything that's going on. Thousands of children were taken advantage of. They need answers. They need justice. We can't live in a society where this kind of behavior is justified. And one of the freakiest parts of this to me is in 2008, the Florida Attorney General was going after Epstein, and then quote unquote, somebody higher up had a conversation with him and said, Jeffrey Epstein is above your pay grade, leave it alone. Now my question is, who had that conversation with the Florida Attorney General? And number two, why is he above the pay grade? What is Jeffrey Epstein involved in? Is this some Israeli Mossad operation? I don't know. Nobody knows for sure, but I'll tell you one thing, the dots are definitely leading in some direction.
Underage prostitution and running sex rings by the federal government and the state government of Florida. So was Ghislaine Maxwell found guilty. So to say that they didn't traffic anything to anyone, well, if that's the case, one, why is everybody who knew about the trafficking ring dead? Like Virginia Roberts here, God rest her soul, the only the face truly of Epstein abuse, who spoke out, and now she's dead. And then two, why don't you just let Ghislaine Maxwell out of prison? Ghislaine Maxwell is doing 20 years, hard time, for running a global sex sting prostitution ring of underage girls. Ghislaine Maxwell was in charge. Why does Ghislaine Maxwell get to spend 20 years behind bars and then none of the clients do? Was Ghislaine Maxwell trafficking kids to herself? Is that it? She's trafficking little girls to herself? None of it makes sense. Listen. And a lot of people very frustrated with Elon Musk right now. I'm one of them. I don't think that starting a third party is a smart idea. But I got to tell you, he's been rage tweeting about this Epstein stuff, and it's Well, I mean, is he wrong? Official Jeffrey Epstein pedophile arrest counter, 0. What's that time? Oh, look, it's no one has been arrested o'clock again. Elon Musk sending this at 4 a.m. Next, the DOJ will say, actually, Jeffrey Epstein never even existed. They want us to believe that 40-room mansion and all those trafficked kids were just for Epstein. Nah, I'm not buying it. Not buying it. Not buying it. Getting cooked, man. I think that if there were any evidence, either side could use it against the other. It would be plastered all over everything, unless both sides were guilty, says Elon Musk. Elon Musk, we will release the Epstein list. We just need more time. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list. Oh, no. The Epstein list hangs itself moments before release. I can't believe that conspiracy theorists will claim the list didn't even hang itself. Look at this. We know they're lying. They know they're lying. They know that we know they're lying, and they still continue to lie. Alexander Solzhenitsyn.
Just think about this for a moment. It's such a tragedy that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, because if he only waited a couple of years, he would have been freed because there's no evidence of any wrongdoing. Give me a freaking break. Everybody knows what was going on Epstein's Island. Everybody knows that a lot of our politicians might be compromised by these blackmail files. It does not take a rocket scientist to realize that. But it leads me to wonder, does Donald Trump have this information and he's using it to his advantage so that he can get stuff passed like the big beautiful bill? Maybe that's a stretch, but maybe not, because why else would Donald Trump not be releasing the list? Because goodness knows we know he was not on it, because if he was, the Biden DOJ would have released his name day one. So maybe he's using this list as leverage? I don't know. I'm really hoping that's the case, because I truly do believe there's concrete evidence of Jeffrey Epstein's wrongdoings, and I don't know why the FBI are not releasing this to the public.
Files. Exclusive DOJ FBI said there's no client list. Man, this is heavy. There's a chain of command on this planet, says Cernovich, and elite pedophiles are at the very top, even above Trump, way above him. Elon Musk saying, there's a troubling subtext to the player of games where Lane Banks alludes to elite pedophiles secretly controlling an alien society. Perhaps it was a critique of Earth. Interesting. You know, Bill Barr's dad wrote a book called Space Relations. That was about elite pedophiles controlling the planet. Look it up. It's very interesting. Bill Barr's dad, of course, a founding member of the CIA, and somebody who hired Jeffrey Epstein, connected him with Ghislaine Maxwell, and so on. Elon Musk. If there were no clients, why is Ghislaine Maxwell still in jail? That's right. Well, how was she convicted of sex trafficking? How is that possible? There's no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. So then why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison for? Stuff like this does not improve people's faith in the government. That's exactly right. Stuff like this does not improve people's faith in the government. Here's the unedited video that the feds put out that show at least a minute deleted from the official Epstein tapes. This is the footage of the Epstein tear block inside of the federal penitentiary in Manhattan. And you can see here the a whole minute has been removed from it. Goodness gracious. What a mess. Ben's saying, this is why we need a formal DOJ task force, the Epstein affair, so these types of questions can be answered quickly, directly, and officially. Set up the DOJ Epstein Transparency Task Force for 6 months, and set aside every Friday for a public to ask questions. There you go. Like, you can kill them with absolute transparency. Elon goes nuclear over Epstein files memo. Why Ghislaine Maxwell still in jail? Who was she sex trafficking to? This is the final straw, Elon Musk on a tirade. What happened to the client list is on my desk. What happened to the Epstein files part 2? What happened to those magical binders? What a farce. This is the final straw. Yeah. It's not been good. The release has not been good.
The thing is, I like to consider myself as big a Trump supporter as any person in this country. I just love the guy because he wants the best for America. He really does have America's best interests at heart, and I truly do believe that. That's why it really is perplexing me. Why are the files not being released, and why was he acting so cagey when reporters were asking about the Epstein files? He said something along the lines of, "Oh, are we still on this? Like, why are we still talking about this?" It is a big deal. Thousands of children need justice, and not only that, if there is even a 1% chance most of our politicians are compromised and being blackmailed, the American people deserve to know about this. This is a groundbreaking discovery. If somebody told you 10, 15 years ago that there was a secret island where there was a blackmail operation going on the most powerful people in the world, you would think they were absolutely crazy. We know that is true today, and Elon's right. Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison if she didn't sex traffic to anybody? Shouldn't she be innocent? Because it seems there are no victims, and of course the only one victim to speak out just so happened to kill herself when she said explicitly she would never kill herself. All this just stinks, and it doesn't make any sense. The same thing with Jeffrey Epstein in his cell. He did not kill himself. I don't care what anybody says. There are way too many red flags for me to believe that that man actually killed himself, especially when those who are in the prison say it's impossible. It just so happened that the prison guards who were supposed to be checking the cells every couple minutes were both asleep just when the cameras were down, and the medical examiner noticed that Jeffrey Epstein was somehow fighting back. You saw bruise marks on his body. Maybe Donald Trump is playing the long game and he's trying to get them to drop their guard, and then when they least expect it, then he releases it to the public. Maybe that's me being an optimist, but I actually have no idea where this is headed. I have no idea what's going to happen. Do you think that this is an Israeli Mossad operation? Do you think this is the CIA? Do you think it's the French government? Who do you think is pulling the strings in all of these operations? And why is Donald Trump not just releasing it to the public? And why is Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, being so hesitant and skeptical on this whole issue when they were previously all in favor of full transparency? Let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.